Hello, and welcome to my castle. You have to come in the scary way into the castle because this is Macbeth. It's a scary play. So welcome. Uh, this presentation kind of assumes you know the story, but it just helps you get everything. I hope it'll help you get everything sorted out in your mind. That you know exactly where everything happens, where the big speeches are, some quotations. Stay with me, and if you can remember one simple sentence, you'll have a very good idea of exactly what happens where in this scary play. That's my friend Macbeth. And this is the sentence. If you can just remember this: witches, dial, murder, for Sophocles, you'll have a very good idea of exactly what happens in every scene, because witches here represents Act 1. This word dial represents Act 2. This word murder represents Act 3. The word for represents Act 4. And the word Sophocles represents Act 5. Who the hell is Sophocles? Oh, yes, that's Sophocles, ancient Greek playwright, author of Oedipus Rex, the guy who married his mother and killed his father. That's Sophocles. So, why did I choose Sophocles? Because Sophocles has 9 letters, and there are 9 scenes in Act 5. I almost wish there'd been 4 scenes in Act 4, because then we had a 4 and a 4 and a 4, but there's only 3 scenes in Act 4, F, O, and R. Act 3 has 6 scenes. Act 2 has 4 scenes. I call them DIAL. Act 1 has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 scenes. So each scene of the play has a letter. The letters make up these words. The words make up the acts make up the play. You'll see in detail. Perhaps it's easier to read there. Act 1 is witches. So Act 1, Scene 1 is W. Act 1, Scene 2 is I. Act 1, Scene 3 is T, and so on. Act 2, dial. Act 3, murder, suitable for this play. How many murders we have in this play? Act 4, oh, so much action in Act 4. Act 5, Sophocles, so many scenes in Act 5 because this is the action. The castle is being marched against by at least 2 armies. And that's the play. The scenes highlighted in red have to do with blood. Macbeth and his wife putting their hands in the water after the murder, their hands full of blood. The murder of Banquo, Macbeth's friend. The murder of Lady Macduff. The murder of young Syward in the battle, as Macbeth kills him and says, thou wast born of woman. So lots of blood in this play, so you should find it quite difficult to fall asleep. And then, of course, to add more spice, we have the supernatural. Act 1, Scene 1, we meet 3 witches. They look like women, yet have beards. Act 1, Scene 3, those same witches meet Macbeth and tell him he'll be Thane of Cawdor and king. Macbeth decides to kill the king. On the way into the king's room, he sees floating above him a ghostly dagger. After he becomes king, he has his friend Banquo killed, and the friend Banquo appears to him in ghostly form at the demon dinner. I leave this scene out, but it's Hecate, the main witch, grumbling at the other witches. The 3 witches And Macbeth's gone to see them again, but he hasn't arrived yet. They make this terrible potion, and of course, once he does arrive, 3 predictions are made. He must beware Macduff. He doesn't need to worry till the forest climbs up the mountain, and he doesn't need to be scared of any man born of woman. No purple scenes in Act 5. The pink scenes have to do with Lady Macbeth. We first meet her there. I call this scene Hell Hag. I draw this H as the battlements of the castle, and there's Lady Macbeth reading her husband's letter and determined that the prophecies will come true. In this last scene in Act 1, he doesn't want to do it anymore, but she persuades him. This Act 3, Scene 2 is about both of them, so only half of it's pink. To me, this is halfway through the play. Up until now, she's been the bloodthirsty one. After this, she starts going poo-poo, and he starts becoming the bloodthirsty one. Act 5, Scene 1, Lady Macbeth sleepwalking, rubbing the blood off her hands, out, damned spot. And here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Act 5, Scene 5, Lady Macbeth's death. So that O I draw as candles, and that reminds me, oh, that's Macbeth's speech, out, brief candle, life's but a walking shadow. A poor player, blah, 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 blah. Stop me, I'm going to do it all when we get there. What are these blue scenes? That's the fighting between Norway and Scotland. That's Macbeth and Banquo returning to the king. The king announcing that his son will be the new king. Macbeth not pleased and changing his mind about leaving it all to chance. Macbeth employing the murderers for Banquo. Half Macbeth and half Lady Macbeth scene, the halfway mark. Macbeth talks to his doctor. Doctor's not too hopeful about the future of Scotland. The orange scenes are action. The king arriving at the castle, coming on a horse, but I had this E of witches, so I could just make it entrance. And I used to want to draw it as the king arriving on an elephant, but let's just call it entrance. The A here represents the whole castle and all of the goings on in that castle once the king's body's been discovered. 2 armies are marching against Macbeth. Malcolm tells his soldiers, cut down a tree. The 2 armies meet, and the soldiers throw down these camouflage trees. Who finds Macbeth in the castle? Young Syward. Macbeth kills him. Of course, this red one here is Macduff. Macduff and Macbeth's final battle. The yellow scenes, the commentary scenes, I get these 2 confused, Royal Rescue and Royal Revenge. So I'll just say something about this one. I call it the lamp scene. Macduff, after the murder has been discovered, the king's 2 sons run away. Who's next in line? Macbeth. And this old man asks Macduff, will you to Scone? Will you watch him being crowned at Scone? And Macduff says, no, cousin, I'll to Fife. So he's already suspicious. And he can see things are wrong because that L, why do I call it the lamp scene? By the clock 'tis day, yet dark night strangles the travelling lamp. It's supposed to be daytime, yet travelling lamp, the sun, is still being strangled by dark night. And the green scene, the very last scene, Scone, where the king gets crowned, but of course, at this point, Macbeth is killed. Who's the new king? Malcolm. Order is restored. The chain of being is once again intact. So why these funny shapes now? Because each letter now becomes a picture. So I see the 3 witches at the top of each of these spokes of the W. The I represents a wall. That's how I remember Norway versus Scotland. He becomes a drum, which is a drum, Macbeth doth come, before he comes in and they make their predictions. C becomes Macbeth's face on the steps at the castle where the kings congratulated him. Macbeth, who's decided to leave everything to chance, changes his mind when he finds out that Malcolm is the new Prince of Cumberland, will be the new king. And he says, "Stars, hide your fires. Let not light see my black and deep desires." Stars, that's why I played a C. I call that scene Cosmos. H stands for Hell Hag. Lady Macbeth on the battlements. Reading the letter, she feels her husband's too weak and soft to do the deed. So she asks the spirits to unsex her, take away her feminine qualities. E, the king's entrance at the castle. S, Lady Macbeth. I draw the S sideways because I draw her sexy boobs. Lady Macbeth convincing Macbeth, who's changed his mind. He doesn't want to do it, but she convinces him. And her most horrifying speech about she would take the baby from her nipples and dash its brain out. Act 2, on the way into the chamber, Macbeth sees the ghostly dagger. Both he and his wife come out of the chamber with the blood on their hands. He feels his hands will turn the whole ocean red. She says, "Ha, a little water clears us of this deed," proving to be so ironic when we get to Act 5, Scene 1, and she's having nightmares about the blood on her hands. A, representing the whole castle, all the chaos. Macbeth pretending to discover the body after Macduff, of course, has discovered it. The king's two sons running away. Commentary scene, Macduff. By the clock 'tis day, yet dark night strangles the travelling lamp. The M again represents the whole castle, and everyone else has been sent out, but 3 murderers are called in. Macbeth wants them to murder his friend Banquo because he's threatened by the prediction that they made here in Act 1, Scene 3, that Banquo's children would become kings. Umbrella scene, Macbeth and his wife under the umbrella. I call it, there's no umbrella in the text. He has plans to murder Banquo, he won't tell her. R, run Fleance. Fleance is the one who escapes after Banquo is murdered on the way back to the castle. D, the demon dinner. Banquo's ghost appears at the dinner that night. E, the extra scene. I crossed out because some people think not written by Shakespeare. It's a silly scene with Hecate speaking to the witches, so I won't say anything about it. These two, royal rescue and royal revenge. I'll deal with them when we get there, that I don't confuse myself. Macbeth is so disturbed by the ghost, he decides to go and see the witches again. So Act 4 starts with, I call it food. I draw the F as a small stand upon which the cauldron will be rested, and all the disgusting ingredients in the cauldron, and then the 3 predictions. Beware Macduff. You won't be hurt till the forest comes up the mountain. You don't have to be scared of any man born of woman. So they've told him, beware Macduff, but as soon as these spirits tell Macbeth that Banquo's children will become kings, they disappear, and of course Macbeth has a visit from a messenger telling him Macduff has disappeared to England. So now he can't kill Macduff anymore, but he can kill his family. So the O is just a huge mouth screaming, because that's the murder of Lady Macduff and her family and servants in the most violent scene of the play. R, these commentary scenes. Act 5, Sleepwalking of Lady Macbeth. Yet here's a spot, out damned spot. The 2 armies meeting, or the 2 armies marching, and they're going to meet near the forest of Burnham. Macbeth talking to his doctor. 8, the 2 armies meet. Malcolm, who's leading them, says, everyone cut down a branch. This is camouflage. See how the forest will move up the mountain? The murder of Lady Macbeth. I see I've multiplied the O into many O's, each representing a candle. And that famous speech about out, brief candle. Life's but a walking shadow. I call the scene clamor, meaning noise. It's the 2 armies now throwing down their camouflage trees and blowing their trumpets. I draw that C as a trumpet, and attacking. Inside, there's hardly anyone to attack. Mostly everyone is deserted. Only a few mercenary soldiers remain. Macbeth fights with young Syward, kills young Syward, and says, "Ha! thou wast born of woman. Oh, yes, what I forgot to say in this murder of, in the death of Lady Macbeth's speech, of course, that's where, after her death, the messenger tells him the forest was moving up the mountain. So, of course, that shocked him, but here he's still now holding on to that prediction about no man born of woman. Big fight, of course, is Macduff, who's determined he must be the one to kill Macbeth, otherwise his wife and children's ghosts will haunt him. Finds him, of course, in the middle of the speech. Macbeth says, I bear a charmed life which must not yield to one of woman born. And Macduff tells him, despair thy charm. Let the angel tell thee Macduff was from his mother's womb untimely ripped. Macduff was born by caesarean section. That's why no man born of woman. Kills Macbeth, whose head gets brought in the last scene when Malcolm becomes king. From the beginning, Act 1, Scene 1, three witches, creepy opening, fair is foul and foul is fair, meaning everything good is bad and everything bad is good. Act 1, Scene 2, the wall representing war between Norway and Scotland. Two traitors we hear about. MacDonald was killed by Macbeth. The Thane of Cawdor was captured by someone, and of course he was a traitor against Scotland. Duncan, the king, tells us in the scene that his title will now be given to Macbeth. So we are told he's going to get that title. That's why this is inside information, because no one else knows, even before the witches make the prophecy. And we haven't even met Macbeth yet. We meet him here. Macbeth and Banquo, on their way back from the battle, run into these three witches who make the three predictions. Hail Macbeth, hail to thee, Thane of Glamis, which he is already. That's the father he got from his title. Hail to thee, Thane of Cawdor, and we know what's happened to the Thane of Cawdor. Hail to thee that shalt be king hereafter. Banquo says, good sir, why do you start? Start meaning look like you got a fright, and seem to fear things that you sound so fair. Sound so. This play is full of appearance versus reality. Things sound so fair, sound so good. But we know from what the witches said, everything fair is foul, and everything foul is fair. The three witches also make the prediction to Banquo that his children will be kings. And of course, by here, the battle has been won. So let's move on. Macbeth and Banquo arrive at the king. I had to have the stars here because I call this scene Cosmos. So that's Macbeth's decided to leave this whole king story to fate. But when he hears that the new Prince of Cumberland will be Malcolm, in other words, Malcolm will be the new king, he changes his mind, and that big line about stars, hide your fires, let not light see my black and deep desires. But of course, the news, Lady Macbeth will be happy to know the king is coming to visit Macbeth at his castle. So we meet her, Elhag, in person. So happy about the letter, yet she's scared of one thing, that Macbeth's nature or his character is too full of the milk of human kindness. He's too sweet to catch the nearest way, to catch the quickest way of making that prophecy come true and becoming king. The king arrives at the castle. This dramatic irony, because he's saying how pretty the castle is, we know his murder is being plotted inside. Enter the king, Act 1, Scene 6. Last scene in Act 1, there's Lady Macbeth and her terrible thing about, I've given suck, I've breastfed, and know how tender it is to love the babe that milks me. How tender it is to love the baby you're breastfeeding. I would, while it was smiling in my face, have plucked my nipple from his boneless gums and dashed the brains out, had I so sworn as you have done to this. So he agrees, but reluctantly. Act 2 starts, of course, Macbeth on his way in to do the murder, sees the vision of the ghostly dagger, tries to touch it, yet he can't. The murder happens off stage. Now, as we come into Act 2, Scene 2, Macbeth comes out with the blood on his hands. He refuses to go in there again. She sees the swords, says, well, these should be up there. They're trying to frame the 2 servants or chamberlains. He's too scared to go up. She goes up to do it, also comes down with bloody hands. He felt his hands would turn the whole ocean red. She says, a little water clears us of this deed. They're in it. Act 2, Scene 3, alarm or noise. All the confusion as Macduff arrives. There's the porter scene. The porter scene, a bit of light relief. The porter speaking about the effects of alcohol. Macduff goes to wake up the king. Macbeth hears how terrible the weather was. Macduff comes out screeching about the murder. What I've got here is Macbeth's acting. Had I but died an hour before this chance, when he hears about the murder, of course, he goes in to so-called see the body, kills the 2 chamberlains. This is her reaction. Woe, alas, what in our house? As though she's worried about whose house it happened in. Also acting. King's 2 sons split up. Malcolm to England, Dunalbain to Ireland. That's Act 2, Scene 3. Act 2, Scene 4, the commentary scene. There's the old man saying all the terrible things he saw. And yeah, this line about by the clock 'tis day, yet dark night strangles the travelling lamp. The universe has gone crazy because the king, God's representative on earth, has been removed. 3, Scene 1 starts actually with Banquo there at the top. Thou hast it now. Talking to himself, as though he's talking to Macbeth. King, Cawdor Glams, all as the weird woman promised, and I fear thou playedst most foully for it. You got everything, but I'm scared there was foul play. Macbeth wants Banquo dead, ironically, because of his royalty of nature. And he's the one who's supposed to be acting royal now. But why is he so threatened? Because he says he's going to be giving his eternal jewel, or his soul, to the common enemy of man, Satan, to make Banquo's children kings. That's why he wants Banquo dead. And this scene sends everyone else out of the room and employs the murderers to kill Banquo. The umbrella scene, or the U-turn, he doesn't tell her about his plans to murder Banquo, so their roles are starting to be reversed here in Act 3, Scene 2. Act 3, Scene 3, the murder of Banquo, but Fleance escapes, and you can see how Banquo's children will still become kings. Poor old Banquo, though. Demon dinner. So no one else can see this ghost of Banquo. Dinner that Macbeth is acting now, drinking a toast and is pretending, oh, I wonder what happened to old Banquo. And of course, 3 times this ghost coming in, and him in the end making a complete ass of himself, and Lady Macbeth having to patch everything up, and he's very upset. What sights, my lord? Close to the end, when he realizes he's the only one who can see this ghost. See why I said it's an exercise in guilt? The E, that's the scene we leave out, about Hecate, the goddess of magic. The rhymes are so silly, I kind of agree. I don't think it was Shakespeare, so I'm leaving it down. Then this commentary scene. Yes, the rescue scene, then the next one's revenge. So just rescue, making out the King of England to be so good. Things are getting so bad in Scotland, you can't have people to dinner without someone being murdered. So therefore, some holy angel fly to the court of England and unfold his message ere he come. Ere meaning before. That a swift blessing may soon return to this our suffering country under a hand accursed. Macbeth is the hand accursed. An angel there hoping for divine rescue from this terrible situation. Act 4. food. So Macbeth's still upset, goes to see the three witches. They make the three predictions. Beware Macduff, beware the Thane of Fife. Let's do this one first. Don't be scared till the forest comes up the mountain. Don't have to be scared of any man born of woman. Of course, the prediction for Banquo, yes, his children will still become kings. Then the messenger, oh, Macduff has run away. So he wanted to go and kill him, but now he can't. There's Banquo's babies, Banquo's. So he can't kill him. So in the next scene, of course, that screaming mouth, he can have the wife killed. And she's realizes, I mean, she's warned about the murder coming. And she thinks, well, I haven't hurt anyone. Why should I worry? Then she realizes she's in this world, this corrupt world. I've done no harm, but I remember now I'm in this earthly world where to do harm is often laudable, praiseworthy. To do good sometimes accounted dangerous folly. Sometimes doing good is a foolish thing. So again, this fair is foul and foul is fair. Oh no, the murder of her and the children and the servants. Commentary scene set in England, royal revenge. So this, of course, there is Macduff arriving in England. Malcolm is already there. Malcolm tests him, tells him a couple lies, but Macduff passes the test. And then, of course, the news comes. The family and wife are dead. And they encourage him to use this to fuel his revenge. He says, yes, he'll fight it as a man, but I must also feel it as a man. But then he's determined, front to front, bring thou this fiend of Scotland and myself. If anyone else kills him, my wife and children's ghosts will haunt me. So we go into Act 5, ready for action, ready for fighting. But first we've got to have the sleepwalking. Out damned spot as she sleepwalks. So this guilt has started to get to her. The irony of it. She said, a little water clears us of this deed. A nurse is overhearing. Lady Macbeth's giving everything away. A doctor hears it all. Things not looking good for the Macbeth. The armies. So we've got the British army coming from Britain, and then those in Scotland who don't support Macbeth, the Scottish rebels, and they're due to meet at the forest of Burnham. You can see that's how the forest's going to come up the mountain. And it's a very short scene. 9 scenes going fast because it's action. Macbeth talking to his doctor, what rhubarb senna or what purgative or laxative drug would scour these English hence, would get rid of them. Macbeth prepares for war. The two armies meet at the forest of Burnham. Malcolm says, let every soldier hew him down a bough and bear it before him. Every soldier cut down a branch, carry it as camouflage, hew meaning cut. This is how the forest will come up the mountain. But of course, Lady Macbeth has to die now, so that all these O's are candles, and it's the death of Lady Macbeth. Macbeth's reaction, out, brief candle. Life's but a walking shadow, a poor player that struts and frets his hour upon the stage and then is heard no more. It is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. And straight after that, news from the guard, oh, the forest's coming up the mountain. And he looks and it looks like the forest coming up the mountain. But he's still brave. Clamor meaning noise. The two armies get to the top, to the castle. Throw down your branches, he says. Blow your trumpets, those clamorous harbingers, those noisy messengers of blood and death. That's Act 5, Scene 6. Act 5, Scene 7, the fight between Macbeth and young Syward, but Macbeth wins. Ha! Thou wast born of woman. And still holding on to this idea of not scared of any man that's of a woman born. It's poor old young Syward. But of course it's poor old Macbeth in the last scene when we get the news Macduff was from his mother's womb untimely ripped. And old Macbeth There, of course, realizes tricked by the witches, but still brave to the last. Even though the forest, even though you're not born of woman, yet I'll try the last. Lay on Macduff, and damned be him who first cries, holding up, 1, 2, ta, ta, ta. But of course, he's killed. And almost there. Last scene of the play, there's stability now at Scone. They are dead. That's what Malcolm thinks of them, this dead butcher and his fiend-like queen. Macduff brings Macbeth's head in. And of course, Malcolm ends the play with a speech, bringing these exiles back from other countries. There once more, the whole thing. I'll spare you and not go through it all again. So poor old Macbeth. We're meant to feel some regret at the end. He could have been so great. Due to this one tragic flaw, tragic hamartia, is dead. So, witches, dial, murder for Sophocles. I hope this helped you get a clear grip on this lovely, scary play.